volunteer for Look Ahead America, and I want to know what you're going to do for the January 6th political prisoners, especially those who have not been charged with any violent acts.
Yeah, so I think we have a weaponized DOJ. I think you have that being used in ways where they go after people they don't like and factions of society they don't like. And so what you do is you say, we need one standard of justice in this country. If you're going after somebody who was nonviolent for, quote, trespassing, but then you won't prosecute a violent BLM rioter, well, how do you explain that discrepancy? So when I come in, we're going to do one standard of justice for everybody. We'll use Article 2 power, including pardons and clemency as people were mistreated. We're going to have people that can apply, and anyone that demonstrates that type of mistreatment, we would want to make sure that we even the scales of justice. But beyond that, too, we're going to clean house at the DOJ and the FBI. We will end the representation of the government. Because it's wrong how they've treated, how they've abused their power, and it's something that you need a president that understands how to deal with this, that's going to be focused and disciplined, and that's going to be able to put the right people in place. Because, quite frankly, Donald Trump promised to drain the swamp. He did not drain the swamp. It is way worse today than it was even in 2016. And so we can't miss this time. We've got to get the job done, because otherwise I don't think you're ever going to be able to put that genie back in the bottle. Yes, sir.
I'm glad to hear people start talking about our national debt. $34 trillion. I did the math. Everybody here, even this little boy here, owes $100,000 to the federal government to clear our debt. We don't have the money. If China and a couple of other countries start sending their T-bills in to get them reimbursed, we're broke. And we're going to have to print money to pay that debt, and that's going to make our inflation worse than it is today. So.
Yeah, look, I think if you look at how did we get to this point, the first 200 years of our country, I think we racked up about $5 or $6 trillion. And then if you look just in the last 10 years, they've added about $15 trillion to the debt. And that's Republicans and Democrats. It's both parties.
Oh, yeah.
Don't say that this is only Democrats. Obama did a lot in 8 years. Trump did almost as much to the debt in 4 as Obama did in 8. Biden's come in and done trillions and trillions of dollars, and that's just been the case. And so, as president, you've got to be willing to veto spending that Congress is doing that's excessive. You got to be willing to lean in against that. I do think that one of the things that we'll do by bringing inflation down and the interest rates down, it's going to make managing that debt a little easier, because right now servicing the debt is very expensive because of the interest rates. And so we were at $200 billion a year to service the interest on the debt. That's going to end up at $1 trillion pretty soon on this current course. That'll be more to service the debt than our entire defense budget. And that's obviously something that's unsustainable. So ultimately, though, we can sit here today if we had the budget and figure out a way forward, but Congress always seems to undo any type of responsibility in future years because new people get elected, they have different agendas, and adding to debt is always the easiest thing politically to do. So ultimately, I think what you need term limits for members of Congress. And you need a balanced budget amendment to the U.S. Constitution. I think those two reform, and a line item veto for the president. I have as governor, I have a line item veto, so I vetoed billions of dollars in wasteful spending. We've been able to, even while cutting taxes, as I mentioned, pay down a massive amount of our debt. But when's the last time the federal government actually paid off any debt and reduced the debt? I don't think that's probably ever happened in our lifetimes. So we've actually done that in Florida, but having that ability to line item veto is important. So if they put an omnibus bill on your desk as president, this massive bill, you can go and just veto individual things out of there. Why are we sending money to promote transgenderism in Bangladesh, which we are doing, by the way? Why would we be doing that? Of course not. So you line item it out. One thing I would line item out to defund is the United Nations. I think it's a total disaster of an organization. How they're treating Israel is great. So these are things you can do. But, so I think ultimately we need to push for those reforms. We'll do it through the states under Article 5. Florida's already certified a lot of this. I think we can get some real traction. But the way it is now, even if we made progress in one administration, I think the next one would come in and undo it most likely. That's been the course for the last 30, 40 years.